Hey guys, so before I continue, I would like to emphasize that this is not another hair hack video. No. Even though I know how much you guys love my hair hacks, this video was intended to inspire you with an abundance of heatless hairstyles that can be recreated by anyone, regardless of skill level or experience. So even though I've done a ton of heatless hairstyles on my YouTube channel, you guys keep requesting for more. So I thought, what better way to honor your wishes than with a cluster bomb of the best heatless hairstyles all in one video. Each hairstyle is quick and easy, and I tried really hard to make sure that there's a perfect heatless hairstyle for everyone, whether your hair is short, medium, or long. So even though I'll be recreating these hairstyles using just a few wefts from my fancy hair extension set, don't feel that you have to own a set of hair extensions or have long hair to recreate these heatless hairstyles. Here are my 23 outrageously easy 3-minute heatless hairstyles.
Let's start with a bang, shall we? I love how easy and effortless this hairstyle is, and it only takes a couple minutes to create. So all I'm doing is picking up a chunk of hair from the top of one side, and I'm making sure that this chunk is from the middle of my head. I'm separating this hair into two sections, and then I'm twisting each individual strand towards my face and then wrapping the strands around each other away from my face. So again, twist towards the face and wrap away from the face. I'm continuing to repeat the same steps until I no longer have any hair to work with, and then I'm tying off the end of the braid with a hair elastic. Now I'm just going to create the exact same rope braid on the other side. Once I have my two braids, I'm just going in and gently pulling them apart with my fingers. And finally, I'm taking each braid and draping it across the back of my head and pinning it in place with bobby pins. So this is a cool little twist on the regular 3-strand braid. All you want to do is gather the hair in the back at the nape of the neck and leave out the face-trimming pieces of hair to create a more boho relaxed look. Then separate the hair into 3 strands. You want to have 2 thick strands and 1 thin strand. Then just go ahead and braid a regular 3-strand braid and tie off the end of the braid with a hair elastic. After you've done that, you want to go in and pull out only on the thick strands, and this is going to create a beautiful irregular pancake braid. For this look, I'm picking up a chunk of hair from one side of my face and I'm braiding a regular Dutch braid. To braid a Dutch braid, simply separate the working section into 3 strands and braid a regular 3-strand braid, but instead of crossing the strands over the middle strand, you want to cross them under the middle strand. Once I braid it as far down as I can, and then going in and pulling apart the braid with my fingers to make the braid thicker. After I've done that, I'm just draping the braid across the side of my head and then across the back of my head on a slight diagonal, and then I'm bobby pinning the braid to my head and covering up the bobby pins with some hair. This hairstyle is perfect for those of you who love the look of a stacked braid but prefer to get the look without the hassle of actually braiding the braids into one another. All you'll need is a few basic braiding skills and you're good to go. For this heatless hairstyle, I'm simply separating my hair into 3 sections: a right section, a left section, and a back section. For the 2 side sections, you want to gather all of the hair from the temples to the back and bottom of your ear. It should look like a square, and then tie away each section so it's out of the way. The middle section should be all of your hair at the crown area and the back of your head. So all I'm doing is picking up a chunk of hair from the top of my back section and I'm separating it into 3 strands, and then I'm braiding a French Dutch braid. You want to begin by crossing one of the side strands under the middle strand and cross the other side strand under the middle strand. Now keep repeating these steps while alternating sides and also incorporating hair from the outside of the braid into each strand you cross under until you reach the nape of your neck.
I'll be next to you.
Now that I'm at the nape of my neck and I've incorporated all of the loose hair from this section into the braid, I'm continuing to braid a regular Dutch braid until I have a few inches of loose hair left at the bottom. Before I finish braiding my entire braid, what I like to do is go in and pull apart the braid that I've already braided. It just makes it a lot easier to pull apart because once you finish braiding the entire braid, it's a lot more difficult to pull out the sections. Okay guys, so you can obviously see my hair extensions at this point because my hair is ombre, it's darker at the top, and my hair extensions are one uniform color. But I'd like to let you know that as soon as this hairstyle is finished, all of my hair extensions are going to be completely covered. So if you have ombre hair like me and you're also wearing hair extensions that are one uniform color, I'd like to let you know that you can relax and you can totally recreate this look and no one will have any clue that you're wearing hair extensions. So after I've braided and pulled apart my Dutch braid, I'm just tying off the end of the braid with a small hair elastic. Next, I'm taking the 2 sections of hair in the front that I sectioned away in the beginning, and I'm braiding a regular 3-strand braid from the nape of my neck, and I'm finishing it off at the same point as my Dutch braid and then tying it off with an elastic. And the last thing I like to do is take the braid and flip it over and under to create a beautiful twisted effect at the top. For this heatless hairstyle, I'm just picking up a chunk of hair from the top and middle of one side of my head, and I'm braiding it into a fishtail braid. To braid a fishtail braid, you simply want to separate the working section into 2 sections, and then take 1 strand from the outside of one of the sections and bring it over to the opposite section. Then you want to do the same thing on the other side. So pick up a small strand of hair from the outside of that section, and then bring it over to the other section. Keep repeating these steps again and again until your braid is long enough to reach the back of your head. Once it's long enough to reach the back of your head, what I like to do is go under my fingers and pull apart on the fishtail braid to make it thicker and more interesting. So once I have my braid, I'm just gathering together with the rest of my hair, and I'm tying all of my hair into a very messy low bun. For the next hairstyle, you want to take a section of hair from either side of your face and then tie them together at the back of your head. Now that I have this little ponytail, all I'm doing is creating an opening above the hair elastic and pulling the ponytail up and over the hair elastic to create a beautiful twisted effect. So after I've done that, I'm taking a chunk of hair from underneath the ponytail and I'm braiding all of this hair into a regular 3-strand braid. You guys know how to do that, right? So after I finish braiding and I have a few inches of loose hair left at the bottom of the braid, I'm just tying it off with a hair elastic and pulling it apart with my fingers to loosen it up. So this hairstyle is a slightly different variation on the hairstyle that I just showed you. What you want to do is take a larger section of hair from either side of the face and tie them together at the back of it. I meant back of the head. So you want to make sure that you tie it lower down so it's near the nape of the neck. Now I'm just pulling the ponytail up and over the elastic to create a twisted effect, and I'm gently pulling on the twist to loosen them up just like I did in the previous hairstyle. Then all I'm doing is gathering all the hair together and braiding a regular 3-strand braid. I'm tying off the braid and pulling it apart with my fingers to loosen it up, and that's it. So this is a really easy hairstyle if you know how to fishtail braid, but the technique I'm going to show you is going to give it a really special effect. So all I'm doing is gathering a section of hair from one side of my head, and then I'm braiding this section into a fishtail braid. I'm continuing to braid this fishtail braid until I get to about a third down of the strand that I'm working with, and then I'm going in and pulling out the top of the fishtail braid. I'm continuing to braid a regular fishtail braid, and every 2 or 3 inches or so, I'm pulling out that section of the fishtail braid to create this beautiful bubble effect. I'm continuing to repeat these steps until I no longer have any more hair to work with. So this next hairstyle is a really easy braid that you can create without actually doing any braiding. It's an elastic braid. So all I'm doing is taking a chunk of hair from either side of my face, and I'm tying these chunks of hair together at the back of my head. I'm then creating an opening above the hair elastic, and I'm pulling the ponytail over and under the elastic. This is going to create this beautiful twisted effect. I'm then going in and taking another chunk of hair from either side of my head, and I'm incorporating this hair with the ponytail that I've already created. I'm tying all of this hair together with a small hair elastic about 2 inches below the first hair elastic, and then I'm creating another opening above the second elastic, and again pulling through the ponytail over and under the elastic to create another twisted effect. Notice that after I create the twist, I'm gently pulling out on the sides of the twist just to loosen them up a little bit. This is just going to give the entire look a more relaxed and romantic look. So I'm just going ahead and repeating this step one more time to create this beautiful half-up twisted French braid. So this is another braidless braid. All you're going to need to create this look is a bunch of hair elastic. So all I'm doing is basically taking a section of hair from one side of my head, and I'm bringing it over to the opposite side and tying it together with another section of hair on the side of my face. So as you saw, I just took the ponytail and I looped it over and under the elastic to create a twisted effect. I'm then taking another section of hair from the back of one side, and I'm bringing it all the way over to the side that I'm braiding on, and I'm combining it with another section of hair, tying it together, looping it over and under the elastic to create another twisted effect. I'm basically repeating these steps again and again as far down as I want, and what this is going to do is create a beautiful faux fishtail look that's kind of twisted and very loose and bohemian. I love this look. Okay, so this one is gonna be a little bit difficult to explain, but I'm gonna do my best nevertheless because it's so beautiful. You guys have to try this out. So basically what I'm doing is taking a chunk of hair from one side of my hair and I'm draping it all the way across my head and combining it to the side of my head with another section of hair. I'm taking these two sections and I'm twisting them towards my face and then wrapping them around each other away from my face to create a rope braid. I'm braiding this rope braid until I have a few inches of loose hair left at the bottom of the braid, and then I'm tying off the braid with a hair elastic and then pulling apart the braid just a little bit to fluff it out. Next, I'm taking a chunk of loose hair from behind the braid and I'm combining it with the loose ends of the braid that I already have. Then I'm taking this section and I'm separating it into two sections and braiding a rope braid in the opposite direction. So this time I'm twisting the individual strands away from my face and I'm twisting the strands around each other towards my face. And then I'm tying off the end of the braid with a small hair elastic. And then again, just like the previous braid, I'm going in with my fingers and pulling apart the braid to fluff it out. So with the remaining loose hair, I'm just separating it into two sections and creating another rope braid. It doesn't matter which direction you braid it in, so you can braid it whichever direction you feel more comfortable with. And then when you get to the end of the braid, you just want to pull it apart again. And then this time, I'm tying together the end of the two braids together to make it one big braid. Phew, I know that was a lot, but hopefully you guys got it and hopefully you guys appreciate the beauty of this gorgeous, gorgeous rope braid. So for this hairstyle, you want to start with a deep side part and pick up a chunk of hair from the top of the side that has more hair and braid a regular French Dutch braid until you reach the nape of your neck. To braid a French Dutch braid, you simply want to braid each side strand under the middle strand. And then once you've done this 2 times in the beginning, you want to start incorporating hair from the outside of the braid into the braid. This will help the braid stick to your head. So once I reach the nape of my neck, I'm just going in and pulling out the sides of the braid with my fingers to fan it out. I just find it much easier to fan it out at this point, whereas finishing the braid all the way to the ends. And after I've done that, I'm just continuing with the regular Dutch braid and tying off the end of the braid with a small hair elastic and then going in and pulling apart the rest of the braid. So this hairstyle is a super cute twist, no pun intended, on the traditional pigtail braided hairstyle. So instead of 2 French pigtail braids, all I'm doing is creating 2 French rope braids. To do this, I'm picking up a chunk of hair from the top of one side and I'm separating this section into 2. Then I'm taking these 2 sections and I'm twisting them towards my face and wrapping them around each other away from my face. I'm going to continue repeating this step as I incorporate hair from the outside of the braid into the sections that I'm working with. After I've incorporated all of my loose hair into the French rope braid, I'm continuing down with a regular rope braid and then tying off the end of the braid with a small hair elastic. Then all I'm doing is creating the exact same French rope braid on the other side of my head. For this look, I'm separating my hair from ear to ear and I'm tying the rest of my hair into a low ponytail. Then I'm taking one of the side sections, I'm draping it across the back of the head and around the base of the ponytail. I'm pinning this section in place with some bobby pins and then I'm repeating the exact same thing on the other side. Yes, I know my hair elastic's showing. I'm clearly not on my game today. Let's just ignore that, peeps, and keep going. So then I'm just taking a small hair elastic and I'm tying it around the ponytail about a couple inches down from the base of the ponytail. And I'm going in with my fingers and pulling out that section to create a bubble effect. And then all I'm doing from here is just repeating this step 2 more times along the length of the ponytail to create this beautiful bubble ponytail. So this is one of my favorite ways of styling my hair without any heat. Basically, all I do is separate all of my hair down the back of my head into 2 sections, and then I braid each section into a regular braid. Notice that when I begin braiding at the very beginning, I kind of pull the braid forward. This is going to make sure that the braid lays flat against my head without any funny bumps sticking out. After I've done that, I'm just continuing to braid as far down as I can and I'm tying off the end of the braid with a small hair elastic and then pulling out the braid to fluff it out. Now I'm just braiding the exact same braid on the other side. So now that I have my 2 braids, all I'm doing is taking each braid and draping it over the top of my head and I'm pinning it down with some bobby pins. As I do this, I make sure that both braids are super secure and that all of the loose ends are perfectly hidden. Okay, so now that you guys know how to perfect the perfect milkmaid braid, hopefully now you guys will be able to perfect the milkmaid rope braid. So what I'm doing here is separating my working section into 2 strands and I'm twisting both strands away from my face and then wrapping them around each other towards my face. And notice that I'm using the same technique as the classic milkmaid braid. So in the beginning, I'm kind of braiding it away from my face or towards my face, whatever you want to call it, but you get the idea. I'm kind of braiding it in the same direction that I'm going to drape the rope braid over my head. And this is going to prevent any funny lumps or bumps. So once I finished off my first braid, I'm going ahead and repeating the exact same thing on the other side. And then once I have my two braids, I'm just going to do the same thing as the previous hairstyle and drape each braid over the top of my head and pin them down with bobby pins. Okay, so I should probably warn you guys about this one because it's actually supposed to be a really, really beautiful hairstyle, but I screwed it up because I didn't brush out the hair in the back of my head. And as you'll see, this hairstyle looks like a cow licked the back of my head. But regardless, other than that, if you guys do brush out the back of your head, I promise that this hairstyle is really, really pretty. So as you can see, I'm just taking a chunk of hair from one side of my head and I'm tying it off with a small hair elastic at the top, and then I tied another hair elastic about 2 inches below that one and then pulled out that section of hair to create a bubble. I'm then going and creating the exact same thing right under that. So after I've created my 2 bubbles on one of the sections, I'm doing the exact same thing on the other side. Now that I have these 2 bubble sections, whatever you want to call them, I'm just taking them to the back of my head and tie them together with a small hair elastic, and then I'm removing those other hair elastics that are keeping the bubbles on the bottom in place. So yeah, other than the cowlick, I think this hairstyle is pretty cute, no? So this is a really cute and simple hairstyle, and it literally took me about a minute to do, if not less. So all I did was take a section of hair from the crown area and I separated it into 3 sections, and then I braided a loose French braid up to my ear level, and then I continued down with a regular Dutch braid. I then went in and pulled apart the braid and tied off the end of the braid with a small hair elastic, and that was it. For this next hairstyle, I'm taking a chunk of hair from one side of my face and I'm beginning to twist it upwards and incorporating sections of hair into the twists as I go. When I reach the opposite side of my head, I'm just picking up hair from the other side of the face to tie it together with a twist. And then to loosen up the twist, I'm just pulling it out with my fingers. Finally, I'm taking a small strand of hair from the ponytail and I'm wrapping it around the hair elastic a couple times to cover it up, and then I'm tying together the ends of the strand with the rest of the ponytail with a small hair elastic. This is another one of my favorites. So all I'm doing is gathering my hair into a low loose ponytail and I'm covering up the elastic with a strand of hair, leaving out some face framing pieces in the front. Then I'm braiding a regular 3-strand braid halfway down the ponytail, and then I'm tying it off with an elastic. I'm pulling apart the braid with my fingers and then covering up the second elastic with another strand of hair from the ponytail. This is another easy hairstyle that literally took me 2 or 3 minutes, but it definitely looks like it took me way longer than that. So all I did was gather all of my hair in the back and I separated all of my hair into 3 equal sections. I'm braiding each section into a loose 3-strand braid, and then I'm wrapping each braid around itself and then pinning it in place with bobby pins. Oh, and another tip for you guys that will really help you hide the loose ends of the braid is to tie the end of the braid into a loop. So if you notice, that's what I've been doing, and it makes it so much easier to cover up the loose ends of the braids when I pin them in place with bobby pins. So this is a really simple braid, but it's a really, really cool effect. All I'm doing is creating a braid on both sides of my head, and I'm just clipping it away in the meantime so that it doesn't unravel. When you braid the braids at the top, you want to make sure that the braid come down from the top and side of the head instead of directly from the side. So once I braided my second braid about halfway down, I'm taking all of my braids and the loose hair and then braiding a very loose 3-strand braid with all of the hair combined. This is going to create a really cool braids within a braid effect that I absolutely love. So for this last hairstyle, what I did was gather all of my hair to one side and I loosely tied it with a small hair elastic into a ponytail. Then I picked up 2 sections from the underside of the ponytail and I tied them around the front of the elastic to cover it up, and then I brought them to the back. So when I brought them to the back, what I did was pick up another 2 strands of hair from the underside of the ponytail and I incorporated them into the existing strands that I already have, and then I brought them again to the front, tied a knot, and then brought them to the back. This time when I brought the strands to the back, I picked up a small section of hair from the underside of the ponytail and I tied all of this hair together with a small hair elastic. So you'll notice what this did was create a little section of the ponytail. So what I'm doing is going in with my fingers and pulling out hair from this section to make a bubble. And all I'm doing is repeating the exact same steps a few more times. So again, I'm picking up 2 small strands from the back of the ponytail and bringing them to the front, knotting them together, and then bringing them to the back. When I bring them to the back, I'm picking up another small strand of hair from the back of the ponytail and tying all of this hair together with a small hair elastic so it stays secure and doesn't slip. Then I'm going back to this section and I'm pulling out sections of hair to create another bubble. So I'm going to repeat these steps one more time and then I'm done. Guys, seriously, I have no idea what possessed me to do so many hairstyles in one video. My arms feel like they're gonna fall off. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video nonetheless and got plenty of inspiration for different heatless hairstyles you can create for pretty much any occasion.
Guys, seriously, I can't even begin to tell you how happy it makes me to see you guys recreate my hairstyles and then hashtag me on Instagram. The fact that there are people recreating my hairstyles is just bananas. So thanks for being awesome, you guys, and showing me your endless support. So if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos like this one. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I love you, and I hope to see you in my next video.
I will be the one to let